Right.
So I think I didn't have a lot of substance in my belly. And then I had a couple beers, so
Yeah, but beer is not usually what does it.
no,
That's hydration.
it's just the, just no food and then just drinking for 4 or 5 hours. Anyways, just woke up the next morning and I was hungry. But I was just dragging. And then I had another event, had a golf tournament
Oh
to
my
be at.
gosh.
And it was, it was a little warm. Anyways, just been dragging all week.
You didn't faint it or something?
So I even know. But to Eric's point, though, it's like, hey, you should drink something in order to take the shakes away or whatever. And
get back to normal.
yeah, but nothing. I was playing golf and nothing tasted.
You even play golf? It's not like you're just at the events at golf or something, but
It's a golf. It's a scramble. Yeah, best ball is what they call it. It's the
Wow.
best ball. Yeah.
Wow, under the sun. That sounds
Under the
very
sun.
tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think at one time, well, I guess I didn't know beer doesn't count as hydration. So back in college, I was like off work. I usually don't drink that much water to begin with, but I was like off at work and then was so thirsty, like, oh, let's drink some beer. And we're drinking like, a few beers, and then my thirst was gone. And then so I didn't drink water the rest of the night. And then on the next day we went hiking, and then like an easy trail, but I was just like, oh my God, like this, like why do I feel so tired and less than that. And then I realized that I didn't drink anything but just beer, like since like maybe like 24 hours or something. So and then like I started to pale and then almost like fainting. And then my friend is like, oh my God, you were having a dehydration. I'm like, why? But I drank a lot of beer yesterday. And then my friend was just like, oh my.
So hard. So just for our viewers, you landed in the middle of the recording.
We are on.
Yes.
Okay.
ProTasting series live session, which we think we want to keep pretty casual to a certain extent.
Yes.
And go. So there was already a lot of free talk here. Just in a nutshell, we're going to try a couple of wines.
Yeah.
Have some food and have a good time and talk about wine, sake, cooking, and maybe at the end of the program, something about how your wheat program is going.
My wheat program. Yeah. Well, I'm just, haven't dabbled too much into it, but we can definitely touch on it. It's exciting.
We will touch on it.
We will definitely touch on
like
it.
You heard, it's exciting.
It's a green industry.
Green industry.
It's an entire new revolution going on.
I'm not sure it's a new revolution.
Well, it's from a legal standpoint, it is.
Oh, that is true. I mean, in how many states now?
Off
your head?
Off the top of my head, I want to say 38 of them are either medical and or rec.
Wow.
So, there's a few out there that are medical, but not recreational, but they're all catching on. So I think it's 38 now. Yeah.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. But there's still a lot of that. There's still a lot of the regulation that isn't happening, and the illicit market is still demanding a lot of business.
Yeah.
So, pricing, it's going to be a while, but the cool thing that I'm interested in is obviously the whole educational piece of it. So there's like classes and certifications and all that stuff happening. So the industry itself, foundation is growing.
Well, it's
So
like
interesting
the
to
old
see.
wine.
And I think a lot of it is, when you look at, I think a lot of that younger generation is, probably drinking more of the beverages and not as much beer, spirits, and wine, because they're being introduced to a lot of this CBD and THC drinks and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot out there. Hold on.
Yeah.
Just have to.
You got something.
That's me. Which
Come on back. Where are you going? Well, you go do that while I open up the bottle of water.
I don't lie.
You go do that while I open up the bottle.
We're lacking some seriousness here.
Well, you know, this is gonna be an evolution, right?
Oh, definitely an
There's the
evolution.
bottle.
And thank you for sending me your bios.
Yeah, I just literally, I just saw
Sorry,
that.
I had to just,
I
bring
just saw
that
that,
in, you
I
know.
just saw that right before.
Right, right.
Yeah,
Right before
it's
I
okay, it's all
got on
good.
the road.
Like you say, this is going to grow.
Bios, what are we looking at? Bios coming shortly.
This is it's going to grow.
So I brought two whites based off of your recommendation.
Well, my recommendation, I mean, we're going to have
Yes.
sausage with onions, with cabbage and potatoes. I mean, it's been winter in freaking San Diego till about a week ago.
I
Mhm.
know, right?
And when I was preparing for the show and thinking, what am I going to serve? I thought, you know what? We can still squeeze a winter dish in.
Yeah.
So that's what I literally,
A
Yeah.
winter dish.
yeah. So it's going to be interesting.
Yesterday was some substance. But I know.
Yeah. Longest day. Have you been dancing around the campfire?
I don't, I know.
Now
but
summer, it's here.
That sounds interesting though.
Okay. Yeah, lumber, that looks like Australian or
Australian
New Zealandish.
dish.
Well, I don't know. It's when I see the name, I'm already like,
This is Australian vignette.
wow.
Yalumba, the Virgilius vignette. And I did bring, and I did bring, and I
Why
did bring,
did you choose it?
and I
Because
did bring
we
a
had,
reverse.
yeah, because we had a little bit of a discussion. And Jesse asked me, okay, what did you use for the broth? And I said Chardonnay, but through the interaction of, especially with the cabbage, the sausage, the fat, I sincerely think it's impossible to trace the wine to its origin, in this case, Chardonnay.
Right, yeah, yeah, most of it is gonna be, yeah.
It's just going to sink. What's going to be interesting is the pairing.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you go back to last time we sat down, the food and the wine is always gonna clash, or not clash, but it's just going to affect the wine in one way. I always go wine first. You're the chef. You always go food first.
It's interesting.
So this is a Viognier. You mentioned a Gewürztraminer, which I did bring one as well. More fruit, lower in acid was kind of one of the key words that you discussed.
And that's definitely very low in acid. I'm actually surprised how flat it is.
Yeah, this is
it's interesting. You get that fruit and then like pancakes.
Mhm.
Viognier. This is Australian Viognier. Viognier tends to be more aromatic. People gravitate towards the aromatic. The other characteristic for me with Viogniers is body. They tend to have a little more weight. They can get higher in sugar. I don't think this is high in alcohol though. And I'm blind. I can barely even see the.
You want me to read it? Yeah.
That's funny.
But this one is actually a little bit leaner than other.
So this one
Viognier.
is from where?
Australia.
Australia.
It's a single, yeah, it's an Eden Valley Viognier.
What interests me is here, hand-picked and wild fermented in old French or okay. When I hear something like that, the hand-picked thing I get.
Mhm.
Handpicked, yeah, marketing. I mean, it's not
What's
marketing. They
wild
actually do.
fermented? I mean,
Wild-
wild would be uncontrolled, which but I
Wild yeast fermented as opposed to
Oh.
commercial yeast.
so they left that word out.
They left the word out.
You say wild fermented in old French oak.
Yeah,
So they're, most wineries are using commercial yeast.
yeah.
When you're talking about wine, they want the wine to be expressing site specific. So they actually will harvest the grapes, and they'll let the natural yeast of where it's from, site specific, to actually kick in the fermentation.
It's interesting.
As opposed to adding a commercial yeast that is going to give it, more of a recipe type of flavors and so forth.
But don't you think that could be confusing to the
To the
consumer?
consumer?
I mean, when I
No,
read
this
it,
is- this
I
is-
was like, oh, this, I hadn't seen that before. So
Let me see how they actually work.
the problem is, I think it's,
From the cool elevated slopes of Eden Valley, handpicked and wild fermented.
yeah,
Yeah, they don't mention anything about yeast fermentation.
no, they don't, but it's like, I
But that's,
totally understand.
yeah,
There's so much competition on the wine market. I
Mhm.
mean,
Yeah.
it's like wild.
maybe natural for, wild, yeah. I'll bring this up to marketing. Honestly, and quite honestly, this is a very low, we don't get a whole lot of this wine. This just, after you and I discussed what you were preparing today, this was the Viognier that I had.
You know what? Can I have a little more?
Oh, absolutely.
Because
Drink the whole
I'm
bottle,
just like, yeah.
So, and then we'll get into the Gewürztraminer today, and when you look at Gewürztraminer and the history of, I mean, they're both going to be, like you said, they're going to be more fruit, more aromatic on the Viognier.
It's interesting because, I mean, right here we're drinking it, with nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
But I pick up acidity on this. It's
yeah,
very,
now I do a little more
we're picking
than
up the
before.
acidity. Yeah.
I mean, my first sip, and it's probably because it
This
was
is a
my
nice
first
one.
glass of wine
Right.
of the day. By the way, just in general, before you go to wine tasting, drink a little bit before, because your palate has to adapt a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always like you go to wine tasting and your first glass seems to be standing out or falling flat, and it's not the reality what's going on with the sugars in your mouth.
Yeah, no
Mhm.
doubt. That's why you got to have a sip, and then have more sips. Well, a lot of people actually start with bubbles because sparkling ends up actually waking your palates up. That's why people love the bubbles. I mean, to me, this is a fantastic one, but it'll be interesting to see how it goes with your dish, or how it changes.
Yeah, how it changes.
How it changes.
I'm like, I'm curious because it seems to be that the fruit is also coming out a little more.
I think it's gonna be interesting that after you eat the meal, and if your stomach is a little full, I think it's people's mouths tends to taste it sweeter too. So maybe this like a fruit note, maybe we can maybe pick up even more after we have a meal.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the food, it does, right? I mean, it's really going to be the balance of how you've prepared it. The seasoning.
I'm actually going to just step out, do a little.
Grab another. Do you have another glass?
So we can do like
Yeah,
side-by,
I'll just
side.
pour these side by side. When it comes to wine and history and all that, I mean, it's all the grapes have just evolved and gone from one place to another and adapted.
Surprisingly, I do have another glass.
Yeah, big glass. The next one we're doing is Tramine Gewürztraminer. This is Nussbaumer Gewürztraminer.
Where is it from?
This is from the Alto Adige.
Oh,
And Tramine is the name of the producer. Cantina Tramine Nussbaumer Gewürztraminer. single vineyard Gewürztraminer. This one's gonna have even more fruit. You mentioned fruit with lower acidity.
Aroma already have a. aroma.
Yeah, this is, yeah. This was actually the grape varietal that really got me
We're
the
not
most.
done yet, but I just want to give you a smell, just
Okay.
to get an idea
Ooh,
of where we're going.
wow.
Yeah, there you go. And those would have, get that all. I love this varietal.
I love sausage. But here they don't really speak often about it.
They don't what?
You know, it's one of those, hold on.
And for our 7, I don't know why I use 7, but I listen to this radio station. They're always making fun about how many followers they have.
Oh.
For our 7 watchers or 7 listeners, you can pick up these wines at wine.com.
Yeah, this one is little more like a sweeter, like a fruit taste is like really good. It was like a muscat, like a green sweet grape.
Yeah, they use, white leech fruit,
Mm,
Okay,
leech
5
fruit,
minutes.
white peaches.
Yeah.
Big. People will always say sweeter on this because it is fruit. And you
Mm.
pick up a big dose of fruit,
Wow.
obviously sweetness in the entry.
mhm.
You mentioned, I think you actually said Austrian Gewürztraminer, which was great
Yeah.
because this is from northern Italy, but it used to be part of Sud Tyrol, which used to be part of
Yeah,
the Austrian before.
Südtirol,
yeah.
I actually says that.
Yeah, and so they speak more German there than they do
Oh
Italian.
my God, it's so different, but it's very different from an Alsatian Gewürztraminer.
Yeah, and people say that this is actually the
Did you say
original
nut,
set. Say again?
like a nutty flavor?
No, lychee.
Lychee, white peaches, tropicals.
Lychee.
But it also has a lot of different spices. This is all. I mean, this is all.
You know what's funny? I can totally smell the rose
Mhm.
they describe here.
Mm.
No, we go to the rose garden from time to time.
Gardenia. You know how that gardenia is very pungent.
Yeah,
jazzy?
But on the other side of the zoo, they have the rose garden.
Mhm.
Sorry, we are referring here to the San Diego Zoo, and on the opposite side of the San Diego Zoo, there's a cactus garden and there's a rose garden.
Mhm.
Mm,
And if you come on the right time, when the roses are in bloom, I mean, there are so many roses which have absolutely no scent. Then you have the couple of ones which stand out.
Hmm.
And one of them, it's definitely incorporated here. You get it at the very end.
yeah, I mean, in the length of this wine, it lasts forever. And it's very low in acid.
I mean, those two wines couldn't be more different.
Right. Yet they're distant cousins.
Funnily enough, I sincerely think they're both going to work.
And they are so different, yet I think structural wise they're kind of similar. Although the news bomber has definitely got more weight to it.
No, I mean, for someone who wants to try something really
Exotic.
Yeah,
These
let's
are-
call it exotic.
These are exotic wines from a flavor, from a
But-
profile perspective.
Good. They are just not the usual flavor profile you would drink.
Hmm.
But I have to say, I mean, this is in my eyes not the typical Gewürztraminer I'm used to, because it's the Alsatians, that
Well,
I have in my head,
That's
Schrimbach and things
Yeah.
like that. But you know, sometimes you just have to be open-minded. And wow, I'm impressed. Actually, that
Yeah,
that wine is.
and here's the thing. I was at this winery. Well, I've been there a couple of times, but the first time I went there was, I'm gonna say probably like in 2005, 6, and we tried a 20-year-old News Bomber, and it was still kicking. It was still fresh. It still had the fruit. So this wine is balanced. It's got a bunch of fruit, but the wine itself is balanced. And in my opinion, that's what makes a wine last long. It's not that it has a bunch of acid or tannins in it. It's that it's a perfectly balanced wine, and that harmony will allow it to age gracefully over years. That's why, like,
How does it sell?
we don't get they don't make a lot of that. We only bring in, 100 cases of this a year.
So
It's a single vineyard
what,
Gewürztraminer.
what does it go for?
That one is
I
around
mean-
40, low 40s, $42, $43.
Wow.
Yeah. They have another tier of Gewürztraminer, which is just as
I mean,
fantastic for the
I
money.
just want to show that again because that is outstanding. Yeah, that is one of those wines just for the fun of it.
Just the uniqueness of it.
Yeah,
It's-
I mean, I'm very sorry, Australian wine.
Well, I mean, honestly,
In
if I had,
comparison-
but here's the thing. I mean, they're both so unique, and they're both so special, because we don't get a whole lot of that into the country either, and that's about a $55 bottle. There aren't that many people making a whole lot of Viognier. I would select the Viognier if somebody say, hey, which one are you gonna have food with? And so forth. I would be like, what are we eating?
And
But it
that's
would be the
what's
Viognier.
constantly happening here. It's so funny.
You and I are always on a different spectrum.
We are, and it's actually it's very enjoyable, but that is where you see where individuality actually comes in, and your perception of taste and what you like, and I love what you bring to the table, because like I said, the sake is still very much out of my comfort zone, because I'm still on a discovery trip. I'm like Magellan trying to navigate through whatever. That's not a good actually analogy, because I think he got actually killed on his travels, and that's not really one of my things I want to do.
What did you think of these wines?
Well, if I'm gonna eat with meal, I will pick this one.
It has more acidity
Yes,
to it.
a little more acidity, like less on the sweetness. And if I'm gonna just drink it as is, I will drink it with this one. This might still go well with the broth, but as you get more full, I feel like this might gets a little bit too heavy, too fruity for my taste. But this one you can probably sip through the meal.
Okay, what I'm going to do, you continue that conversation. I just
Yeah, I agree.
get things ready so everybody
I
can.
agree when it comes to Gewürztraminer in general. I think I mentioned this at the last show, or a previous show, or previous discussion rather. My wife's from British Columbia, and they actually make a very drier style Gewürztraminer that has even a little more acid to it. So yeah, when it comes to pairing Gewürztraminer, that's I really don't drink a whole lot of Gewürztraminer, but I would go with spicy food.
Oh
With
yeah,
this,
yeah,
I would
absolutely.
go
Or
with
like something very oily, or maybe like some spicy food. I think it's gonna probably paired well, but I think after a while you might start feeling like a little too full for this
close.
taste.
Yeah. And you know what this would go really, really well with as well, in my opinion, is cheese. So
Probably
some
might.
aged cheese.
You put this
I would have
Like that.
aged cheese with this. What did you bring on the sake front?
For the sake, I probably need, I did bring some of the drier style of sake. We were just doing the tasting, so. We probably maybe need another glass, or maybe we can just use.
A
Yeah,
dump
you
bucket
can-
or something.
Yeah.
What about another glass?
Yeah, if you have
Yeah,
another
pretty much
glass.
anything smaller will be, because this is not really aroma focused, so.
Not the wrong focus, but
Yeah, and when you drink the Virgilius after tasting the fish
Mhm.
bubble, you really pick up a lot more of the acidity because of the fruit.
Yes.
There's more, more sugar, more fruit on the fish bubble. Which this.
would that work?
Yeah,
That'll work. That's the grappa glass right there, huh? Or what is that?
Well,
Snifter?
this is actually it can be used for whiskey and for cognac.
And for cognac.
Yeah, I do have grappa glasses.
Yes, I have little ones too. Of course.
Yeah, no, it's fine. It's actually very interesting. I used them.
There you go.
But just to see, I mean,
wow.
I have in Europe, I think I still have left like 1,000 glasses that I never brought over.
At parents' house or where are you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the thing is, I had literally even to trendy drinks, the glass full, because the producer would come out and there was this weird drink, a Z something, like a very strong vermouth, and they would have a Z in the bottom of the glass.
Okay.
And I just loved it because they would promote it with it and so on. But that was also where I learned, getting the right glass for the right alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
It's way more important than with wine.
Right.
It tastes differently.
Yeah.
And it's like in a cognac snifter, you really shouldn't have cognac. You should have a brandy
Right.
because it's just, it's cheaper. But people had that thing that, they would have cognac and brandy snifters.
Cognac is brandy.
Just saying, cognac has cognac is double distilled, brandy usually is not, it's only single distillation. And it has to be out of the region of cognac. Okay, I don't want to be nosy.
There's only one place.
Okay.
There's only one place that makes
Yeah.
cognac.
But some people are lucky, it's like tequila, mezcal, cognac, armagnac, champagne.
Vermont.
Once you get that region and it's internationally recognized,
Mhm.
you're fine. Oh, by the way, I send you first. So I continue that conversation with Jesse. You
Okay.
help yourself.
Okay. Oh, you continue and then, okay, I get that food.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you get that food. And you can cut the sausages in half, just do like at home.
Mm-hmm.
How is this?
It's fantastic. I love it.
Cool.
With sake is it's just sake is always going to be a rounder beverage.
So different.
I need to try a lot more sake in order to really be able to pick out the nuances in sake.
Jesse, please go ahead.
Okay, let me get some of this. Get myself a big
Here. So it's like and
Thank you, thank you. So we got a little bit of like this is the
cabbage.
cabbage,
Yeah,
but it's
and
like,
Napa cabbage. It's
Napa
not
cabbage,
green
yeah.
cabbage.
Napa
Napa
cabbage.
cabbage,
What kind of sausage is this one?
That's actually a mild Italian.
Okay,
You know, it's so weird that here they have it. They like to mix cheese into the bratwurst.
oh, really?
Yeah, and um, that is the closest I actually can find to a German bratwurst, even that they have both bratwursts here that they label bratwurst. The mild Italian comes to the closest,
Mm.
you know, that you can use.
And you have the potato
And you have the
here, and what
potato.
kind of broth is this?
Well, that's
Mm.
well, the broth is actually from
Mm.
the cabbage, the
Mhm,
sausage,
mhm.
the potatoes, but instead of doing it with water, you put wine
Wine.
Yeah.
Mm.
as your base.
Wow. Really good. You can taste like you put the onions too for your cooking.
You put the onions in, you just get them glazed, a
Mhm.
little bit brownish, you put your sausage in, get them color, both sides. Then you add your wine, you put your potatoes in,
Mhm.
salt, pepper, you put your cabbage on top to layer it, to withhold all the steam which is coming, because you want your potatoes to be actually cooked after 45 minutes.
So you have to cook the potato first because this takes
Well,
the longest.
the potato is already, it actually all cooks at the same time.
Really?
But through having it on the bottom
Oh.
layer, just above the sausage, it traps the heat.
Mhm.
And then the cabbage starts to bleed all its water.
Add it to the juice, add it to the soup.
Exactly. It's actually, I mean, cooking time is actually only 45 minutes
Oh,
for
wow.
this dish.
Let's try it with stuff.
So now that's
yeah.
going to be interesting.
Right. The wine is fantastic.
Which one? I'm like, which one? Bird. You know, I do have to say that I think that cabbage is totally undervalued.
Cabbage is undervalued.
Yeah, because it's really, I mean, it gives so much flavor.
Mhm.
I mean, here it's really the cabbage gives you the ground flavor. Of course, you have the fat of the sausage too. But now I'm curious. So this is actually it.
The dish is fantastic.
You like it?
Yeah.
Have often eaten something like that?
No, not really. I mean, yes.
Yeah, I think I try maybe something similar. I think we call it like poto.
Potofu?
Yeah, potofu.
Potofu, but potofu you make with meat.
Oh,
With-
okay.
Not with sausage, but I
Oh.
know a French dish.
Yeah, so I mean in Japanese we also call it like potofu, but I didn't know like you all actually call it potofu in French too.
Mhm.
But yeah, we usually have I guess carrots.
You could
Potato.
add carrots,
Mhm.
but it would get even sweeter.
Mm.
And here I think it has already, but I totally know a classic potofu. I mean the French version.
when you say sweeter, I don't pick up sweetness in this dish. Very savory.
Savory, yes, but it goes already into sweet.
It's like a sweetness from the cabbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a vegetable sweetness.
And if you would add carrots, I think it would just push it. I mean, yes, you can put carrots in it.
Mhm.
Sure.
That's not the point. I think that's to the individual cook,
Right.
Mhm.
you know, whatever they like.
So what is potofu like actual like mean? Like what is that?
Well,
potofu mean?
I put the food is actually you have very coarse, you have like beef chunk,
Mm, mm,
fatty broth and so on. And you would actually put in carrots, mushrooms, cabbage, potatoes, but you would cook it for at least 2.5 hours
wow, longer.
to get the meat, the beef tender.
Oh, I see.
And you cover it, and it gives you a lot of juice.
Hmm.
Well, nearly like here, actually. Okay, but now I have to go back to this because that's so interesting.
I think I really like that pairing with this one. This
With the
this
Gewürztraminer.
this wine.
I think it holds up better.
Yes.
It holds up better with the dish.
It's interesting. Oh, and the sound you're not hearing is a sound of pleasure.
Trying to digest this.
No.
Sound of pleasure. I like it. Yeah, we need to go that.
I think it's that if you drink it with this one, it's almost this wine taste a little more acidic.
Yeah, it brings up these acid, kind of like the quail dish last week with the Barolo.
Mm,
It brought out the acid and that's probably why you wanted a lower acid wine.
Yep. What's interesting with this dish, you can use some Asian spices and it will so change the nature of the dish.
such
Right.
as what kind of like spice?
Alright.
I should really do with sake too.
Probably try that.
Yeah.
I haven't tried that.
Mhm.
I could see it working really well with that.
So this sake, it's called.
Just
Oh, yeah,
put
you
a
can
little
just.
bit of this in your broth. Just
Oh,
a
okay.
little bit.
All right. Maybe I should get second bowl.
Of course. Well, thank you. Like, and I'm sorry you.
Don't
I
apologize to the
literally
camera.
got kind of
Never
out of the
apologize to the
picture, but that you can taste it. But you know, there have to be some pros and cons. I'm going to post the recipe, you know, on the web. So I've on LinkedIn, Facebook, you will have it. I hope that soon I also going to have it on Discover's website.
So this spice is like a togarashi, like little bit of spice with the sansho, like the mountain spice. It looks
Yeah.
like.
Just a little bit, and suddenly your European dish can become a total Asian dish. That's what always fascinates me about Asian spices, how dominant they are.
Can I pour you guys a little bit more of this?
Mm,
Did you hear that?
It just kicked in.
Yes.
It
yep,
just kicked in for Yaka.
yep,
Yeah, it just became a Chinese
thank you.
dish.
Yes, it did. I think the mountain spice part, like the sancho pepper and a little bit of spice. Yeah, it's almost, yeah, it tastes like the Chinese.
You got any jalapeno or something?
Go.
No,
Try
all right,
just,
let me try.
just a little bit,
Just
I mean,
tad.
just for, you're not
Oh, I
going
see.
to mix it for the whole dish,
Mhm.
but it's interesting how it changes your dish radically.
Mhm.
But I think that's always the fun about cooking.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, tremendously.
So this sake is from Iwate province, so it's kind of northern side of Japan. And it's called Oshu no Ryu, which means the dragon of Oshu, sorry. And then this one is a special Junmai sake. So this Oshu area district is really well known to have Wagyu. It's called also like Oshu Wagyu. So the brewer decided to work with a farmer saying that, okay, so to promote Oshu Wagyu better, can you make something that really pairs well with either Wagyu or some like a meat dish? So this was the sake bottle, the Toji, the brewmaster, they brew it to pair it with Wagyu or meat, like a little bit of like a
So to come back to the Wagyu, that's the region, or
yes, Oshu is a region in Iwate province.
yeah.
So like when we call it Kobe Wagyu or Matsuzaka Wagyu, or this is Oshu Wagyu, so they always talk about the region name. Yes, so that's type of like Wagyu that they have. And they also have, you know, A5 grade and A4 grade when it's a little bit leaner. So these are the different grade of Wagyu. So the brewer worked with the Wagyu farmers to come up with the sake that pairs really well with the beef.
Right.
So now, I mean, I've seen it recently in the past 6
Wagyu
months.
terroir.
Yeah, speaking about your Costco golfing. So at Costco now,
Mhm.
you can buy Wagyu,
Wagyu, yes.
Wagyu.
$99 a pound.
Mhm.
How much?
Frozen,
Nine-
$99 a pound.
Yeah, yeah. it's
Right.
frozen.
Yes.
Try that. This with that. It's kicking.
You like it?
Sorry, I didn't mean to
No, no,
interrupt.
no,
I didn't
no.
I mean
That's
to
okay.
interrupt, my bad.
No, but that's the idea.
Yeah.
For me, that's fascinating.
Mm.
You know, I like beef. I had Wagyu before. You know, it seems it's all about the fat
Mm.
versus about the meat. And
Is that what separates the Wagyu?
Oh,
from-
yeah.
From the premiumization from other,
oh yeah, it's the fat.
It's the fat
content. It's the
kind of
fat.
like Toro?
It's the marbleization. they have.
Exactly. They're just really particular about how it's marbled.
Exactly, and it's. I mean, from the vision, I can totally get it.
Right.
From taste-wise, sincerely, I think I've never had it done well yet.
Mm.
That's all I can say. I think I've
Mm.
never been to restaurant or other which served it in a way where I could appreciate
Mm. Mhm.
the price you're paying for it.
Mhm.
You know, it's like some people sell your oysters, you know, for $10 a piece, the other for $3 a piece. And guess what? It's the oyster and what it's with which is going to make the difference. I mean, me personally, freshly chucked, somewhere in Brittany on the coast. Will never compare to, you get it from here and the oyster has traveled a long time and the saltiness is kind of gone, but with Wagyu beef, that's the only beef I have that I haven't had it to the point where I'm like,
Wow.
okay, you sold me.
So I think the problem is kind of similar to me. I mean, it's not Wagyu is not my like most favorite style because generally I do like leaner meat. So like they have A5 grade Wagyu. It's the most expensive one with the most marble. But like not necessary for me, it tastes the best. A4 Wagyu is usually a tad linear version of Wagyu, but I still have enough like marbles in it. So like if you're used to like having like filet mignon or something like more like in a linear style of like meat is like your favorite style, then people tend to like the A4 Wagyu instead of the highest grade A5 Wagyu. And also, Wagyu also needs to be very like carefully, I guess, cooked or prepared. Otherwise, it might be taste too oily because of the oil. It might taste like too rich, or it could be maybe it feel little undercooked, or if it's overcooked, then it's no longer soft. So it has to be a really like thin balance of like preparation, how you want it to consume. And also like you cannot eat a lot of Wagyu because it just gets so rich in your mouth.
Yeah.
So you just want to have maybe like 2 pieces or 3 pieces. Also, I think another thing will be sometimes you can have it really thin sliced and just like torched it and then have it as like maybe Wagyu style nigiri, or you can have it in like steak format. And also have like a A5 Wagyu. There's always a little trick. They call it Washugyu, which means that it's Wagyu. It's Wagyu. They are brought to the U.S. and raised in the U.S.
So they bring the animal over.
Yes. So it
when
is.
it's very young.
So, or like it could be like second generation. So let's say like if I have a kid, it's still gonna be a bloodline gonna be Japanese, but they're born raised in America. So
No,
And
sorry.
then depending on where they actually.
That's kind of really, really funny because
It is. That's crazy.
I totally get it.
Right.
I totally I'm a little bit familiar, with the breeding and so on, but that is actually funny.
So they call it, instead of saying Wagyu, Wa means Japan. That means Japan.
Okay.
And Gyu means cow. So if you say Wagyu, that means that like Japanese cow
Wow.
from Japan. So that's why it's $99 a pound. Because it's a specific way of raising the Wagyu and shipping and everything.
I mean, the whole thing, though.
It's the whole thing.
It's
It's
the
just
whole thing.
it's just that everything costs a lot of money. But if you find something a little bit cheaper, you call it, or like they either call it American raised Wagyu or they call it Washugyu. Shu means United States of America in Japanese. So they call it Washugyu. So it's a Japanese cow raised in Shu, it's America, and it's a cow. So like the cow that raised in.
Then you start getting into
US.
the marketing stuff, right? It's like,
Well,
to your point,
and what you
when did they
said,
bring the cow over?
Yeah, no.
Or I
it's,
wonder if it was great grandpa that came over and all the cows since then are now called Wagyu.
Well, actually,
Is there regulation behind using the word Wagyu
no,
shoe?
you brought something up.
Because if great grandpa cow came over,
Grapes.
can you?
I think grapes are the ideal example,
Right.
but how different do they taste?
Well, I mean, once you bring a grape over, it's going to have to adapt to the climate and so forth.
No,
but
I think it's the same with a cow.
No, I agree, and I see where you're going with this. It's.
I love it. It's
I just don't
actually a
see.
great discussion
But
point you're bringing
the Wagyu Costco selling Wagyu beef for 99 bucks a pound. I'm trying to think here, but off the top of my head, I can't think of anybody selling. Yes, certain wineries will say, "Oh, this is the clone from, it's a Pomar clone from this, or it's this clone from
No,
this and
no, no,
that."
no.
But,
I can end this discussion for you.
but the
I
marketing, but the market.
Chateau Petrus
Okay,
is a Chateau Petrus,
right.
and you will be paying 1,500
Plus,
plus for the bottle.
right, because it's
Your
from Chateau
Wagyu
Petrus.
beef that you're getting at Costco,
Is not Chateau Petrus.
well, it should be if they're selling it for that price.
Well, you're right. It could be. It could be.
That,
we have to
that's
ask the
why I'm
question.
thinking that, yes, it's probably from Japan,
Right.
properly raised.
Probably, yeah.
And the weird thing is that Costco has actually very good wine buyers.
They have good
Yeah.
buyers in all departments because
Yeah,
they
that
will
is-
cross-train and cross-fertilize.
I mean, the one that they sell in Costco is the one from Japan.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
For that much money,
Yes.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and they have to
Yeah,
be sure
I
that it's-
Costco is not ethically going to try to deceive their
I don't
consumer.
think-
They
But
have
that's
the
why
logistics there.
I was coming back to the grapes
Right.
after what you were saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, of course. Now we grow all the varietals here.
yeah.
Um,
I was
You know
referring
what's-
more to the Wagyu shoe,
Washugu.
Washugu.
Mhm, mhm.
The Washugu
Mhm.
is, I've never heard that actually, but that's interesting to me.
yeah, that's like my Costco shadow. Which you
I think that
find
was
in
the
rough.
idea, like that's
Yeah.
some places they say it's,
Wow, we just went down a whole different.
yeah, it's like Wagyu, but it's from this farm, or like it's Wagyu raised in Australia, or like Wagyu like raised in here, so like you can still call it Wagyu for the blood line
Right.
because it's the same.
I get it.
Same
It's
breed,
like
yeah.
my son is Asian European, whatever that might be.
That
But he
means,
was born in America,
right,
so his outcome is going to be totally different
yeah,
than if he grew up in China.
Mhm.
right.
Not physically, but mentally, and the taste of it
Yeah.
and all that. And no, that's interesting. And I do have to say that Tyrolean Gewürztraminer, I'm very
Are you leaning on it?
fascinated by it.
Yeah. And for me, I actually you said to be very subtle with the spice.
Yeah, I saw you. You gave it more,
I gave it more.
of course, but that's your inheritance.
Or like a
Your
spice.
heritage.
Yeah,
I wish it was my
heritage.
inheritance.
It's your
Hopefully they got a
heritage.
lot of money so I can inherit it.
No, but isn't it funny how it works? That's what I love.
Yeah, no doubt. No. I ended up putting a few
You-
more doses to get the
I
heat
could
up
have
in order
sold
to.
you as a Chinese dish just because of that spice.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, absolutely.
Which
I'm a
it
simple
doesn't-
man with simple needs.
which
me some
it
spice and
doesn't
give me a Gewürztraminer.
originate from, but when the pairing is right, there
Yeah,
again, you can't put this sauce into everything, but if you have the right dish,
Yeah.
then suddenly,
One thing that I've noticed and we'll continue to evolve with this, but one thing that I've noticed in the few podcasts that we've done and so forth is that sake goes with everything.
Mhm.
It does. It does because it tends to be, it's got the fruit component, but it's a very easy round beverage. When you say it's higher in acidity, that's all comparative, right? It's
May I?
comparative.
Yes.
So that, to me, the sake went really good with it before we put the heat,
Spice,
the
yes.
spice in it. Thank you. And the Virgilius to me also went better with it without the spice. Once I put the heat in, it added a different dimension.
Look at that.
Yeah, oh, promoting the spice.
Okay, 99 ranch, please. You know.
Yes, royalties. I'm going to get some of that spice.
Oh, making a mess.
Now here, I guess before you took those things over, I actually brought a red. But now that you took the plate over, do we even want to open it?
Sure, we want to try it.
Yeah.
Hey,
So-
that's
so
what
what-
way here.
Once you told me that we were doing a cabbage sausage thing, I needed to come up with a light.
Why do you want some more? I mean, there's some more.
No.
Plates. You can have another
Well, we
serving.
can philosophize about this. Maybe if you have a dump bucket, you have a dump bucket, a little something we can just dump a glass and then I'll rinse the other ones. Just a big glass.
Might have even some.
You don't need to bring out 3 more wine glasses. We're all professional.
Mhm.
Just bring like a tumbler or just any glass. I don't know which one you guys are gonna down, but there, that's perfect.
I'm like,
Here you go.
this I cannot dump that. I will dump. I'm having too much fun with this.
With this.
Here, Roll, yeah, I
You guys can
really do
rinse
have to
this out.
say. Oh, and by the way, that's the easiest way to read. Use your glasses. You know, just put the one you want to taste in your wine glass, get rid of the rest, and saves you a lot of glassware during a wine tasting.
It saves you a lot of washing dishes. So one of the coolest things, Grenache, Garnacha, big reds. One of the cool climate Grenache
Okay,
is a fun one. This is a cool climate. Australia does cooler. This is actually Barossa, which is actually a little bit, it can be warmer. But this is, to me, this is a cool, nice little wine.
okay.
It's
that's
Yalumba. This
just-
is Sam's Collection Grenache. Again, I'm gonna pick something up with a little more higher acidity.
Okay, we just going to see in.
It's young. This is just a new release, but
By the way, sorry, I think the camera setup is not too bad.
Yeah, I think it's a good, great setup, yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, you can always shoot me an email and let me know how bad we did.
this is coming at third base.
Is it?
This would go good with the sausage, though.
You see, I was
I'm
going in the other direction.
I like the bigger acid.
Yeah, we know that. And it's
It is pretty.
it wasn't a shot. Oh my gosh, now I'm like anticipating.
Anticipating what?
Does it close the back of your throat?
Does it taste like this because it's still young?
Mm. Well,
Whoa.
we also had sake
Mhm.
and some sweeter stuff, so the acid is more pronounced. on it.
Oh, okay.
But from a flavor perspective, the fruit is like it's going to be a little tighter. It is young. It's a new release. It's a 2021. But it all goes down to what you're eating, what you're drinking. All of a sudden, you have this, and the acid is more pronounced. But the flavor component, I think, is delicious.
Hold on. Wait for that.
Because, you know, and the reason I brought this is because there's a lot of people that don't even drink white wine. So I need to bring red wine, right? And I'm like, okay, so what are we gonna, there's a lot of people that just do not drink red or white wines.
Really?
And I'm like, okay, all right, so
I think that's me and my mom. Like I don't, yeah, I don't think, yeah, my mom, I don't think she almost barely ever
drink wines.
drink any white wine.
She doesn't drink white wines, right?
No.
There's so many people that I run into that like, if you're drinking wine, it's got to be red, right? And I'm like, well, don't talk to my wife, but
Your wife likes the white wine.
yeah, that's all she drinks.
Wow.
She only drinks whites.
Hmm.
But majority, or there's a lot of people that will not drink white wine. I love white wine, especially if the sun is still up.
Hmm.
But this wine to me is a little bit, it's got a little more going on than a Pinot Noir. I'm just and here's the conundrum for me. I'm fascinated with Grenache. I'm fascinated with this wine, but most people don't drink it.
See how it's going.
What's the broth?
Most people don't drink Grenache or
What's
Garnacha.
Grenache mean? Is that the type of grape?
That's a great varietal. Yeah. So Grenache, you know, in the Rhone, it's a big grape in the Rhone. In Spain, they call it Garnacha. It's another great varietal. But you know, publications have put out a couple of articles recently about cool climate Grenache. Hassel Robles is doing some cool things with Grenache. This is Australian. This is Yalumba. It's a different profile than a lot of Garnacha.
I think this makes it actually more aggressive.
Say that again. The dish.
Yeah, I think the dish makes the wine more aggressive.
How did you prepare the dish again? Tell me.
Okay, onions, glazed onion, sausage, potato, cabbage, napa cabbage, white wine, salt, pepper.
So what kind of white wine?
Chardonnay.
It happened to be Chardonnay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you don't think that the white wine that you select in doing your broth has any effect in the overall?
Not too much.
No.
Just because of the sausage and the cabbage.
So what are you getting
They
out of the
take
white?
over.
What are you getting? What are you trying to get out of the wine for your broth?
Oh, just frankly, cheap and good. I'm cooking with the wine.
Okay, so you're using the wine instead of, or why?
Instead of water, right?
Right, instead of water.
With water, it would be you would not get that flavor profile.
So like the umami aspect of it.
Yeah.
So that's
add it
savory
with
now.
chutney.
Yeah, right. That
Yeah.
comes.
You would do the same dish with water. I mean, literally, it would be watered down.
Right,
And
exactly.
the fat aspect would come out more.
Right. So I think Chardonnay is a good wine to use.
It works. I mean, I usually do it either with Pinot Grigio or Chardonnay.
Have you tried with sake?
Not yet, but I don't think we would have the same result.
You think so? Maybe I will bring you the almost like a cooking sake that can also
No,
add.
that's
Yes, not the flavored one, but like the type of sake, just like Chardonnay or Pinot Grigio.
Yeah.
Just like that, you can actually drink it as is, but it's like really good for cooking.
I totally will replicate that dish for you.
Okay, yeah, that's
The Frenchman is not used to the Japanese cooking.
But you can use it just like making any kind of broth, just like using the white wine, but instead you can use the sake
Well,
and see
the
what
thing
happens.
is, what surprised me in Chinese and Japanese
Mhm.
cuisine, that you have particular cooking wine.
Oh, yeah, that's already been
In
seasoned.
Europe, the cooking wine is the cheapest.
Mm.
That's usually the wine that
but it's going to add a dimension to your broth. If
Oh.
you have a cheap wine, cheap broth, good wine, better broth.
How
Good-
shitty
good-
was my broth?
Your broth was excellent.
Well, it was
It
not
was excellent.
shitty wine, it was cooking.
No,
wine.
well, no, but that's what I'm saying is that my point is that I think whatever ingredient you use is important. You can't just say,
Totally.
just grab whatever bottle of wine
if you
and put
would
it in.
go and put a Chateau de Cam into this, you would be like,
Well,
"Ah."
you're going to the extreme. You're going to the chateau.
but I found that a lot that in certain
Because I'm really
circles,
enjoying the red broth. It's really starting.
it's a certain circles and they are like, and I don't know who started that. That you should have the wine you cooked with
With the dinner.
the dinner,
Right.
and I really don't know where it's coming from, and I'm totally opposed because I think if you're cooking with a $45 bottle of wine, that's a waste.
That's a waste. Yeah,
It's a
no.
total waste.
No, I agree with that, but I do think there is going to be a difference with if you get a modest Chardonnay and you make your dish with it, the components of that Chardonnay will be reflected in your broth, as opposed to using a Riesling or using some other varietal that has a completely different taste profile. There's going to be some element there.
That's going to be some element, but if you say like the Riesling, I don't think the Riesling would make too much of a difference.
Compared to
Riesling-
Chard or compared to
yeah,
water?
compared to Chardonnay.
Compared to Chard.
Oh, water, forget about it.
Water
I
is
mean,
out of the picture,
water,
correct.
It's, I mean, in my view.
So we're
that-
really, so let's narrow that down. So you're really talking about that 15 to 17, 18, 19% of a bottle of wine that's making the difference.
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
Because most of it is water. So so that's my point though.
The taste.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Chardonnay versus Riesling versus Gewürztraminer or Viognier, is it going to make a difference in your broth?
Not too much,
Not too
and I
much.
tell you why, because it's a hearty dish.
Okay.
It's hearty.
Right.
There's sausage. There
Right.
is the and these
Potatoes
are
and the
very
onions.
strong flavors, and they're taking over the wine.
Right.
If you go and you would do a Dover soap, and you would like to do, say, a lemon carper white wine sauce with it, you would have to take a wine which is very, how shall I say, not pungent,
Okay.
very, very low profile,
Mm.
but probably a notch up from that.
Mm, mhm, mhm.
You know, it's hard. Yeah, it's like I started doing Boeuf Bourguignon, but with white wine, and people looked at me like, "Whoa, Boeuf Bourguignon, which is a red wine dish with white wine." Guess what? I think it tastes so much better with white.
Hmm.
I did that actually for you
Yeah.
long time ago. But it's playing with it, and I'm like, with sake, there's still something missing for me.
Mm.
The interaction with the food. I like to drink it with the food. I just haven't discovered the dishes yet
Okay.
to cook with it.
Okay, so next time I will bring you a bottle. It's almost add the whole like umami aspect. So like compared to water versus wine, water versus sake, it's gonna do that kind of similar effect to the broth dish, or when you're doing just a saute with a little sauce. So that one has like a really big mushroom flavor to it in the sake.
And you have to give me the recipe for it.
Okay.
Because that's the most important part to be able. For me, I mean, okay, Chinese cuisine, I have now pretty good with it. I mean, of it.
Maybe can you think of a dish that you uses mushroom and you uses the white wine for sauce or broth? So we can like substitute that. Pancake?
No, plenty. I
Okay.
said
Breakfast?
plenty, plenty.
Are we doing breakfast?
Well, hey, about breakfast. What was it? My 40th birthday? I don't remember. That's how long we go back. When you
Yeah.
came out to Oceanside and
Oh, yeah,
We
that's
had-
right. I
we had
remember that.
sausage breakfast.
We had Richard with us. Richard was there.
We had what you know where I come. I mean, I come from Germany, but one of the regions where my family comes from is Bavaria,
Okay.
and you have sausage breakfast at 6 o'clock in the morning with beer,
Oh, wow.
and it's totally normal. And I love driving out into the mountains. You know, there were certain restaurants that would open at 6 o'clock on Sunday morning,
Hmm.
just to have your Weisswurst. I mean, Weisswurst. It's actually a veal sausage, just cooked in water with a chorus sweet senf mustard, sweet chorus mustard, and a Weiss beer.
I mean, that's brilliant. That's brilliant, right?
Oh, the rest of your day is just great.
That's brilliant.
And it's so funny. And there you have the Weiss beer and you appreciate it. And you know, you are the mount. It's just different. And you know, if I would have my son there, say it would be not inappropriate to give him a little bit of beer. Just a
Unappropriate?
little, not inappropriate.
Not unappropriate.
Yeah.
I like that. Mm,
Thank you.
that
This is
Gewürztraminer, you're digging that Gewürztraminer.
I'm totally in.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Well,
So I again, I mean, for me to wrap up this show,
shall we?
yeah, I think in my humble opinion, you know, and you guys are all pros. Sake with the I really enjoyed the sake with your dish. Once we added a little more spice, and I'm not even gonna say heat, it really wasn't that hot.
It's just a
No,
spice.
it's just the
Yeah,
spice,
it's
but
the
which
spice.
transforms the dish.
Yeah, but it transformed it and it almost amplified the flavors for me. I really enjoyed the Gewürztraminer.
Mhm.
But if I, once again, being the wine first person, if I had to pick one of these bottles to go home and finish the rest of it, it's gonna be the Virginia's Vineyard. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. No, that Gewürztraminer. I mean, I don't know.
I actually have the exact same opinion.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
it's
so, like the
funny,
balance,
doesn't it?
the food dish, actually the sake paired probably the best out of all this. And
It
when
always
we,
does.
yeah, and when you added the spice to it, I did enjoy it with this one, this wine. And but if I'm gonna drink it, yeah, home, I will be just drinking that all
Isn't
day.
that beautiful? That's why you have all that stuff out there.
Yeah,
You know, that everybody can find their preferences. I think that's the beauty of it.
now I've got a question at a third base, just coming out of whatever. I've been drinking sake
Mhm.
for a little bit now. I tend to find that sake in general is it tastes not the same,
Mhm.
but very similar.
Yes.
And the differences between, say, even white wine, you know, I can have a Viognier, and then I can go to a, you know, whatever, a different white, and I can really tell the major differences with it.
Mhm.
But with sake, how many different major rice strains are there? And do you find major differences? Or
So
does that take a lot of tasting to dive
yes,
into the
to dive in,
nuances
I think
of
it's
it?
what makes the most difference in terms of flavoring.
Yeah,
It's more of a brewing process or how it's been stored. Let's say nama sake is unpasteurized sake is very different from the one that it's being pasteurized. So
yeah,
it's really lively, really refreshing. They have a little bit of like lactic yogurty kind of taste to it. So that's the complete different elements from rest of the sake. And also like Yamahai or Kimoto brewing method, which is following the ancient brewing method that really gives you umami flavor, mushroom flavor, earthy botanical flavor. So that's also really separates them from
Yeah.
the rest of the category. And also nigori is the cloudy sake with the rice particle remain behind, or they have a sparkling sake. So these are the different brewing method and how it's the storing process, brewing process.
yeah,
That kind of like really sets off really different categories, or also like a junmai versus more like junmai daiginjo or the
It's a
junmai ginjo. It's more like a ginjo category is more refined and more premium and more polished style. That one has a little bit of more like a fruit taste to it, a little bit more aromatic. Where in junmai gonna be more like earthier, ricier, like freshly, like a more like a grainy kind of taste. So these are the kind of major difference, but like, oh, this uses Yamada Nishiki, this uses Gohyaku Mangoku,
yeah.
this uses Miyama Nishiki. Like the rice varietal will gonna be quite fairly different. Like if it's like, this is the 2 Yamada Nishiki, which is a king of sake rice. This is Yamada Nishiki Nama versus heated. That makes a lot more difference than that this is Yamada Nishiki rice and this is a Gohyaku Mangoku rice, but both heated. So the condition maybe makes
Yeah,
a bigger difference.
It's more artistic. I can see where it's definitely more artistic than varietal, you know.
Yes.
I-
So in Japanese, like a brewing, we always say, I heard that like wine, it's say that maybe like 70% is ingredients, the varietal of grapes and like
In
how
the
the
vineyard.
harvest,
In
in
the
the
vineyard.
vineyard is the
Yeah.
like finally what makes a huge difference in wine brewing.
Yeah.
Where in sake, we
It's-
always say the opposite.
It's
70% is the techniques
Yeah.
and how you want to brew the grain of rice.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of like separates them. And also like, let's say, wine, I mean, grape, if you eat it with the skin on and when it's peeled and different varietal, different style of like, is it really like sour or not as ripe grape versus really ripe grape? Anybody, even you're like first time eating grapes, you can tell the difference. But if you say, okay, this is the best quality rice of the year versus regular table rice, even like unless you're a super professional, like if you when you cook it and you eat it, you probably like nobody really cannot tell the difference. So that's how the rice of grains is quite minimal differences in
So
ingredients.
this one.
Yes.
So let me ask you a different question. Since we're still rolling here. You want, I can give you as much, yeah, I'm gonna leave the bottle here, so you can kind of. Are there any producers out there that are trying to produce a sake in a traditional fashion, but just completely different from a taste profile?
Yes,
Or-
I think nowadays that's a very popular or younger brewers, because for the longest time I feel
Yeah.
like it's always about
Everybody's always-
tradition and
Everybody's wanted to be kind
yes,
of in the same.
like traditional and
Right.
like not change the brewing, what they carried on for like past 2-3 centuries. Like
yeah.
they're gonna be doing the same thing. This is my family recipe, and this is
Right.
what we have been taught.
And
what we
everybody
have
is,
been-
this is what sake is.
Yes.
It tastes like this.
But nowadays I think it's like taking over like a younger generation. So maybe some of the brewers are in their like late 30s or 40s. So
Yeah.
they wanted to try something different, how we can keep on the tradition, but maybe adds on something different. Like
Different
do a little
dimensions.
twist. Yes. So they started to using this different varietal of like different yeast to bring out different type of aromas. Or also they started to doing, instead of using the yellow koji, which is a traditional type of koji, maybe I can try champagne yeast or like or like a
Right.
white koji, or I can use maybe try to use the black koji.
Right.
But white koji tends to be a lot on the acidic sour side. And they kind of like bring out a completely different style. So if you wanted to use the white koji or black koji, then you have to kind of do it maybe just one last batch before the brewing session is
So,
finished.
so when you do your batch,
Mhm.
what do you use?
I use the regular yellow koji and also uses the type of yeast that creates a really nice aromas from like ripe banana, peach, or like green apple. So it's more like a friendly for the people that they never exposed to sake. They won't be like shocked with like earthy, like mushroom taste. It's more like tropical, like really soft and easy
Appealing.
drinking
drinking,
for sake beginners.
But that's just something I have to bring back to the table very quickly. I mean, some of you know us, others don't.
There's nobody
You know,
watching this right now.
we are wine professionals, we are food professionals, but Ayaka is a sake master and is brewing. No,
Her own
I have to
product.
rephrase this, is importing her sake from Japan to Bishop Restaurant in San Diego.
Yeah.
Just wanted to make a point. You know, why she is
Yes.
so efficient in talking about sake.
Mhm.
We couldn't have a more,
That'll be in the bio once we get them to you.
Yes.
It's
yeah,
on its way.
I brought that up earlier, but maybe someone else picked up on it. But anyhow, you know, and then Jesse, who's been selling wine for how many years now?
28,
Are you
30,
sure it's only 28 years?
30. Yeah. 25, 15.
Well, anyhow, so just to say, we want you to have fun seeing us discussing what we do.
Yeah.
And yes, these are three professionals, which are not trying to be too professional about this setup.
No.
This
I mean,
is
look
about
at us.
pleasure.
We got a, what
This
kind of
is-
dump bucket is
This is about fun.
it? Is.
This is just about an exchange, you know, I would say on a high level
Mhm,
in our profession,
mhm.
and we're just sharing it, period.
We're just sharing it. That's a good one. I like that. We're just sharing.
Yeah,
We're just
that's,
sharing.
that's all we do, and you will see us about every.
And we're learning.
other
Hopefully, we're
week.
all learning because I mean, I'm gonna pick Ayaka brain every time we do a show. Because I mean, I'm fascinated, and I think the general public is fascinated with sake.
Oh,
Um,
definitely.
I'm looking for that sake that just blows me away. That I'll be like, whoa, that's completely different than anything that I've had.
Did Chateau D'Yquem blow you away?
Yeah, when I first tried it, I'm sure. Yeah, I think it did. You know,
He's a first-time boy.
yeah. No, when I first had it, I was like, wow, okay, so this is Chateau D'Yquem. Okay, I get it. I get it. But I think we all have benchmarks, right? We all have benchmarks and so forth. And I think once we all have that benchmark, like that cabbage sausage, that was a benchmark.
It was different, but that's the fun.
No,
You
it's
know,
it's
we are
about having fun
bringing
and
in
education.
different aspects.
Yeah.
That's all.
Absolutely.
So, guys,
All right, we're out.
we are out.
We'll see you guys again in 2 weeks.
Okay.
We just need to start promoting the show and let people know what's up.
Oh gosh. No, it's all good. We have like to.
So this camera's still